Hello and welcome to All Things Eastern. We have a very special guest with us today. We have Dr. Jeff Gentry, who is the Dean for the College of Fine Arts, and we're going to talk to him about deanly things, what it's like to be in Portales for a handful of months. And then Dr. Gentry is giving a faculty lecture later on this month, and we'll talk about that too. But first, welcome.
Thank you, Patty. It's great to be with you today.
And you have been here, I was trying to do it in my head, just a couple of, like 2.5 months, something
July
like that.
3rd, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So are you settling in?
No, it's complete panic and chaos and pandemonium at all times. No, the learning curve is there with any new job. And I was in my last job for 13 years, got to where I was the senior person who knew where everything was and was very helpful, and now I'm the new person depending on others to help me. And fortunately, everyone has been fantastic.
And you come preloaded with loads and loads of experience, not just in fine arts, but your background is in communication.
Right. And I love the way that the college here fuses communication with the performing and visual arts. And I think that is just really exciting because at some colleges, fine arts will be part of a huge college where sometimes it can get overlooked, or it's so specialized that really all they care about is the grad programs. So I like Eastern because of the size. It's big enough to do significant things. It has a critical mass that's important, but it isn't so large that people become a number. And the fact that you have communication with theater, film, art, and music all together allows for some really neat convergences, I think.
I think so too, and it's really wonderful for the students. Communication is relatively new to fine arts. We were incorporated into the College of Fine Arts, I believe, fall of 2011.
Right.
So we're the new kids on the block. And it's just really exciting to now have somebody who is leading the College of Fine Arts with a communication background, because I think probably you can help us fit in a little bit easier.
Sure, and it really is fun because I have a social science background within communication as well as a performing, because I did oral interpretation and readers theater and a little bit of theater. So I understand both the social science element of our field, communication, as well as the performing side. And I have some experience leading art and music and theater, and art, music, theater, and film as well. So that combination is really fun to me.
You have thrown out a couple of times that in your previous life that you were a game show host.
Oh, right. Well, mostly I just say that I have the personality of a game show host. Not that I recommend it, right? But I always seem to be on, as it were. But I did a little bit, yeah, like College Bowl. Years ago at Colorado State, I was one of several folks who participated as hosts and MCs for College Bowl. And then more recently, I helped create and produce a game show I wasn't the host, but created a game show for high school students, a quiz show that was really quite fun, where they competed for scholarships. And so I really do enjoy quizzes and trivia, but also the idea of, what do we call it, where we have a lot of different things, variety right. shows and things like that.
See, this will come in handy. I've been talking to Louis Pacheco, and I hope to have him on the show at some point. He is with Muleshoe Schools, and he does speech and debate. And he has a personality larger than life. And we're talking about trying to get some speech and debate tournaments or things going here on campus with his school. So this would be a lovely connection because you speak his language as well.
Sure. Yeah, I was a speech and debate coach for 15 years on the college level after participating in high school and college. So you add it all up, I guess 23 years I was officially involved in forensic activities. And so for the last 13 I have not, but we still always hosted a speech and debate district tournament, or regional, they called it regionals, not district, for the northeastern Oklahoma people.
Well, he is he is quite a character, and he has I believe his undergraduate degree is in theater, and he started the master's program and then took a break and is talking about coming back.
Oh, great!
And so that would be a wonderful connection to get some of that going, because we don't have a debate team here anymore. But that would be a wonderful experience for students, not just the high school students who come to compete, but our undergrads and graduate students.
Right. Yeah. Years ago, I remember judging a debate team from eastern New Mexico. They were very good, and I was surprised that they sounded like they had Texas accents. But now I understand that they probably were from Texas and
Yeah.
were recruited to debate there because Portales generally has more my accent, which is a Colorado Rocky Mountain kind of thing.
Well, do you want to talk about any of your plans or visions, or what you would like to see happen, or
Sure.
for the College of Fine Arts?
Yeah, well, I have several diabolical schemes, actually.
Yes!
Some of them I haven't unleashed quite yet, but the first thing that I want to do is take even more advantage of the interdisciplinary opportunities afforded by this college that's so unique, where we have theater and film in the same department.
Yeah.
Now just think about theater and film in the same department, where we have, I'm not going to answer the question, but where we have original script writing, we have actors, we have directors, we have technicians, and we have film students, video, communication. You can kind of imagine where that could go. And so I want to do more with that, but also there are fun ties in between communication and theater, as in readers' theater, which is something I personally would like to get involved with. And the theater faculty are pretty warm to the idea. Instead of replacing theater, just adding readers' theater. It's the theater of the mind. And so that's something that, after a year or two, when I'm no longer, chaos and pandemonium, and understand the lay of the land a little bit better, then I might be able to do more with that.
Now, you come with a pretty strong research background.
Yeah, my PhD research is in the field of political communication. So for my dissertation, I studied parliaments. And I've really been fascinated by the fusion of media, politics, and rhetoric. So I like to study parliaments, and I got to go to Scotland, I got to go to New Zealand.
My people.
Yeah, to study, there are a lot of Celts in both of those places, right? And so I like to study the rhetoric of Parliament in the British parliamentary style, to see whether oppositions are effective in holding the government to account, because their system is so different from ours.
Right.
It's more unicameral or unitary, and the executive there, the government has so much power that opposition is essential there. And so I found in my research that some parliaments or some political parties are very ineffective in doing anything but whining at the government's performance rather than proposing their own solutions. So that invites the use of quantitative content analysis, and so I got to study lots of statistics and things like that, which is helpful, I think, as an administrator too. But yeah, I'm really a potpourri. I love the arts side, I love the social science side, and everything fine arts.
Now, you talk about your love of studying parliaments and process and politics. You are giving a lecture during our faculty lectureship series, and it has nothing to do with Parliament. How did you make the leap from there to ESPN?
Right, it is about rhetoric, and so it's a way for me to fuse my interest in rhetoric with my fascination with sports. I'm a sports nut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up past 11 o'clock last night to make sure my Denver Broncos held off the San Diego Chargers. So I'm not sure when this is airing, but the Broncos won, and so the ESPN Effect was a project conducted for an international conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I made a proposal and they accepted it. So so my presentation coming up is where I look at ESPN as rhetoric in the choice of programming that they've done. And so the idea is that I have found over the years ESPN has transitioned from more active sports coverage to passive sports coverage. And I specifically talk about athletics, which we call in America track and field, as well as swimming and more fitness sports. In the old days of ESPN, when it started in 1979, for many years, they did a lot with fitness sports and amateur sports such as track and field, swimming, and even aerobics and things like that. And now there's almost none. It's almost all men in suits sitting in a studio talking about a couple of sports. So anyway, that's kind of the gist. It doesn't give you the full effect, but I talk about how that pattern has coincided with a passive American culture, that activity levels have just dropped at the same time ESPN's coverage has become less active. And I'm not saying that there's a causal link there, but they're both endemic. Yeah, that they're both signs of an increasingly passive culture with some pretty negative effects.
So you're the new kid on the block and everything that goes along with that. And so just to make it that much more fun for you, you committed to doing this, and you're doing this the 26th of September.
Right.
No pressure.
Right. Well, it's funny because when I started teaching at Little Ottawa University back in 1990, I volunteered to be in the Christmas show where I did an oral interpretation. And after that, I thought, that wasn't the smartest thing to do. It went okay, but yeah, talk about nerves. But yes, I seem to have thrown myself back in the fire.
Well, if you want to see this, Dr. Gentry will give his presentation, and let me give you the whole title, Missed Opportunity, The Decline of Athletics on ESPN and America's Passive Culture. This takes place on the 26th of September, 4 o'clock in the Art and Anthropology Building, room 110. There is a reception that follows, and generally the presentations, I guess, are half an hour to 45 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be no more than a half an hour of presentation time.
And then questions and...
a few minutes of question and answer, and then the goodies. I hear that the treats are very good at this event.
Dr. Weems does not mess around with this. And for those of you who don't know, Dr. Weems, Linda Weems, is our graduate dean, and she has worked really hard to put this together. So anything else before we stop for today that you'd like to say about fine arts or world domination? I'm all about world domination.
Right. Well, it is wonderful that Dr. Weems has, is helping move along this faculty lecture series. This is just the first of several that will be along this year. And I can just tell you that I'm very excited about my opportunity to serve with you here at Eastern, and the Fine Arts College is the most exciting place I've ever been.
Well, very good. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for watching. I'm your host, Patti Dobson. We will be back soon with yet more guests and more exciting news from the College of Fine Arts at ENMU, as well as other events across campus. We'll see you next time. Thank you.